I know this IJ. She's an INFJ, I'm pretty sure. She's definitely an INJ, but pretty sure she's an INFJ. And she has worked at the same company for a number of years, and she's been at the same desk for all those years. And recently, due to some changes in position and realignment of the organization, she had to change desks. And she was a little bit hesitant to do that. She drug her feet a little bit, and she uh, commented as she was having to physically take the items that were at her desk and move them to another desk and free up her desk for the person who's going to be sitting there. She commented, "I've been at this desk for however many years it was a number of years." And she was lamenting the fact that she was having to relocate because she had been at that desk for so long. She even said, basically, this chair is molded to me. I've sat at this same chair for all these years. And she was very hesitant to want to relocate her her possessions or her belongings, her work belongings from one desk to another. And I got to thinking about this. I found it fascinating. And what I got to thinking about was the fact that the IJs, as a general rule, they like things to be secure and stable. They like things largely to stay the same. Now, that's not to say that every IJ is always going to resist change. They won't always. But as a general rule, they prefer for things to be the same. They prefer for things to be what some people would consider stagnant. They consider it more to be secure. So she, being an IJ, was content and felt secure. She felt like she was safe in her known situation, and she was hesitant to change that. Now, interestingly enough, this got me thinking about my late mother-in-law, who was an ISFJ, so also an IJ, but favored her SI. And she also had a large resistance to change. However, her resistance to change was typically more in the world of the N, in the ideological world, the philosophical world. I was thinking about this idea that IJs like to be in the same situation, and I thought, well, my mother-in-law moved quite frequently, and it didn't bother her. She didn't seem to be overwhelmed at the prospect of relocating from one home to another. However, the moment that she got in that new home, she would quickly settle in and go about the process of SIing, of introverted sensing, organizing the physical world. And she would regularly organize her new living space to be very similar to her old living space. Same furniture, same decorations, same appliances. Everything was largely the same, bring over the same. I say appliances, same microwave, I guess is what I'm thinking. So bringing over a lot of the same, but she wasn't afraid necessarily to move around within the physical world. So I was asking myself the question, now, how does that align? Like, how can I say ISFJs like to keep things the same, and yet IJs in general like to keep things the same, and yet my ISFJ mother-in-law didn't have any trouble moving around in the physical world? And then I kind of had this thought come into my mind. The lady that I know who is nervous or scared or was resistant to changing desks is an INJ, which means that her SE is her inferior function. So she was not only generally being an IJ wanting to keep things the same, but what she was very nervous about having to tackle was something in the extroverted sensing world, right? I have to go to a new desk. I have to learn new drawers. I have to figure out where I'm going to put my stuff in this new situation, this new physical extroverted sensing situation. And so the extroverted sensing inferior was causing her to be resistant to a new desk. Now, as an IJ, she's naturally going to be relatively resistant to change in general, but she's particularly resistant to change in the physical world. My ISFJ mother-in-law was not particularly resistant to change in the physical world, although she did organize her physical world the same within each new home. But she was very resistant to change in the ideological world, so in the NE, the extroverted intuition. So she was very settled in her beliefs, very settled in her philosophies and thought processes, and she was very closed off from any willingness to consider new ideas in the abstract world. And so what I'm seeing is that, yes, as a general pattern, IJs like to keep things the same, but the INJs are going to be more fearful of change in the physical world, whereas the ISJs are going to be more fearful of change in the abstract or philosophical world. Now, if we contrast all of this with EPs, I think that we'll see a very interesting phenomenon in that the IJ was saying, I've been in this situation, and for the IJ, be it philosophical or physical, I've been in this situation for so long, it's comfortable, I like it, I don't want to moving seems like chaos to me. The EPs, were they to be in this, let's say at the same desk, we'll just continue to use that situation. If an EP were at the same desk for many years, that might actually be something they feel embarrassed by. They might feel the need to apologize almost for like saying, I cannot believe I've fallen into this stagnant rut and I've been in the same situation for X amount of years. Now, like with the IJs, the EPs, what they feel embarrassed by being stuck in is going to vary between the ESPs and the ENPs. But in either case, the principle holds true that the EPs are going to be more like, yay, I get to change. I get to move to a new situation. I'm almost embarrassed by the fact that I've been in the same situation for so many years because I need new. For the ESFPs, it might be, and ESTPs, it might be more like I need new experiences. I need new physical. For the EENPs, it may be I need new ideas, but in both cases, it's going to be I need new, and I'm almost embarrassed by the fact that I've been stuck in the same spot for so many years. The IJ, quite the opposite, finds comfort in being in the same spot for so many years, and then is resistant to change. I found this to be an extremely interesting observation that I was making, as this particular INFJ was very much resisting moving to a new desk, something that would probably seem very simple to a lot of us and no big deal. But to her, not only was she comfortable in her same known situation, but she was also hesitant to have to tackle anything new in the extroverted sensing world with her extroverted sensing inferior function. So this observation happened in front of my very eyes. Over the week, it got me thinking a lot about IJs and EPs and their either resistance to change or their almost addiction to change. And I have been mulling over this for the last couple of days, and I wanted to share my observations and my thoughts with you. I hope that you find them interesting or useful. Please give this video a like. Do please subscribe. And if you have any interest in contributing financially to what I'm doing, there will be a link in the description below that will give you the opportunity to do that on a website called KOFI Coffee. So thank you so much again for watching, and have an awesome day. Bye now.